It was the wrong place at the wrong time for a disabled Iraq War veteran and his service dog who pulled up to a busy intersection in Albuquerque.
Yeah, Michael Martinez says the passenger in another car got out and punched out his back window at Central and Wantabo, sending his service dog running for dear life.
I believe he wanted to just turn onto the far left lane. So I turned first, and he got angry because he immediately started to tailgate me, and we stopped at Central.
All right, this happened as Mr. Martinez got off I-40 and onto Wantabo yesterday when the window shattered. Lucky here, got quite scared. He jumped out and he ran into traffic. Martinez immediately followed the other car. He called 911, then he turned his attention toward his service dog.
I finally found him at car wash, and he was just huddled up in a corner and shaking.
The trauma may have set the service dog's training back a few months. Overall, that dog, all of his training is worth about $30,000. Another man who police say punched out the back windshield, Samuel Millsops, is now facing charges of criminal damage to property, which is a petty misdemeanor. Elizabeth.
A man accused of driving two cars drunk on the same night makes it pretty easy for deputies to catch him. You see, the guy ended up calling them. The Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office says 52-year-old Rudy Fernandez drove drunk and crashed his car into a ditch near his home. A deputy say Fernandez then walked home and reported his red sedan stolen. But before deputies could get to the scene, they say Fernandez drove drunk again, taking his pickup truck to the crash site. Here is Fernandez denying that.
I could not wreck into this car, sir.
You told me you wrecked this car.
Sir, I could not wreck into this car because I was in this truck.
And get this, the truck Fernandez was riding in had an NDWI sticker on it. He is charged with careless driving, leaving the scene of an accident, and aggravated DWI.
Did he point the gun at cops or didn't he? That is at the center of a civil lawsuit against Albuquerque police in a police shooting, and the jury sided with the cops. Stephen Cordova was almost killed by Albuquerque police in 2008. He was having chest pains at his home in the Heights. He told paramedics he had a gun on him, so they called police, who say Cordova pointed that gun at them, so they shot him 8 times. Cordova admits he had a gun, but swears it never left his pocket. A federal jury was not convinced and ruled officers did not use excessive force. Now, interestingly, Cordova was eventually arrested on 3 counts of aggravated assault on a police officer, but a grand jury didn't buy those charges and dismissed them.
It's been a year since an off-duty APD officer slammed into a car, killing a young woman. Sergeant Adam Casals was driving his police SUV when police officials say that he hit Ashley Browder and her sister Lindsay. Ashley died. Lindsay had a broken spine. Casals claims he was chasing a DWI suspect with his lights and siren on when he ran a red light. But witnesses say they heard no siren, and there is no record that he called in about a DWI suspect. A friend of the family believes that Casals lied.
The fact that he tried to cover it up is just the thing that's kind of hard to come to terms with.
Casals was fired and charged with vehicular homicide. His trial was supposed to start last week, but it has been delayed.
New Mexico's rural hospitals are hurting. In fact, 4 of 5 of them may not survive. And today's Albuquerque Journal headline reads, New Mexico's rural hospitals are running on life support. On Sunday, the Senate Public Affairs Committee directed the Human Services Department and county leaders to come up with a compromise bill directing tens of millions of tax dollars to shore up finances for the state's rural hospitals. That bill is supposed to be presented today. It's all to replace 3 plans at the committee table. Part of the debate here is whether counties should start a new tax or whether the money can come from somewhere else.
A California company wants to bring back to life the New Mexico peanut plant that was at the center of a nationwide salmonella outbreak. Sunland Incorporated closed its doors in Portales last year, putting more than 100 people out of work. Ready Roast Nut Company has signed a purchase agreement to buy the bankrupt company for $18 million and has agreed to reopen the plant. Back in 2012, Sunland recalled more than 100 nut products during the salmonella outbreak. 41 people in 20 states got sick. And that is not the only property for sale that is pending here in New Mexico. There may be a buyer for the troubled Chamisa Hills Country Club in Rio Rancho. A company called the Club at Rio Rancho Incorporated has signed an agreement to buy it if City Council approves a new water deal for the club and course. The current owner is selling it because he cannot afford to pay the water bill.
If you want to get out of your public school in Albuquerque for your kids and have them go to one outside your area, listen up, because APS is now accepting transfer applications for next year. They are due March 15th, and you should get a response starting in May. Head to KRQE.com and click on news links for more on that. And early childhood education programs here in New Mexico could be getting a big boost. That's if Attorney General Gary King gets his way. Mr. King, who is also running for governor, so you know, is talking about this at 11 this morning at his offices in Santa Fe. The note from his office says the AG and other community supporters want to use part of the New Mexico Land Grant Permanent Fund to make significant investments into early childhood education programs. We'll keep you posted. 6:06, Duke City is now making another big push to get our kids reading more.
So important. You know, today marks the beginning of the 12th annual Read to Me book drive, and you have the opportunity to help some kids out. Our News 13's Samantha McDonald is live at the Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Main Library with more. So what is this book drive all about, Samantha?
Well, Elizabeth, it starts today here at the public library. The goal is to collect over 45,000 books over the next several weeks. All of those books will go to elementary school kids from low-income families. The kids will get books and bookmarks to take home so they have something to read during the summer. They'll also get library program information. Collection sites will be at Barnes & Noble, John Brooks Supermart, Applebee's, La Montanita Natural Foods Co-op, Albuquerque-Bernalillo County Library System, and Village Inn. Organizers say giving kids their own books to keep them reading during the summer will make a big difference in their lives.
Reading is a fundamental skill, and if they don't have books in the home, their reading skills there's actually studies that show that kids that have few books in the home have a harder time learning to read.
Drop off new books and gently used books. Back to you.
Thank you very much. The drive does run from February 15th until March 31st. Again, they are asking for new and gently used children's books. So for more information, always head to our website, krqe.com. We got a link there with all the info you need to know.